AfreecaTV ASL Season 6. Today's matchup. Sharp, Jo Ki-seok, Terran. Last, Kim Sung-hyun, Terran. ASL Season 6, Round 8, Match 1. SBS and AfreecaTV presents ASL Season 6.
Whatever it takes, whatever the fight. Don't ever let it break you down, whatever the stakes, whatever the price.
What's up, everybody? We continue our journey on through the ASL, and we're now getting to the exciting part, man. We got some long matches.
Round of 8.
Yes.
And it's a dynamite round of 8, no doubt about that. 3-3-2 racial distribution, many of the world's absolute best players. A big variety of different matches as well.
Yep.
So, I mean, this is going to be a good time. We're having an amazing TVT best of 5 tonight.
Still a little bit sad we don't have any more StarCraft 2 for the year, but we definitely ended with an amazing closer there with GSL Super Tournament. It's going to be StarCraft 1 for us for the rest of the year here in Korea. And again, the games that we've had have shown that StarCraft 1 is continuing to develop. We're not at all close to done learning about this game.
The
it
meta
has not been figured out.
The meta is evolving quicker than ever.
Yeah.
We've had very big new bugs that you can kind of use in-game. 2 of them so far discovered since Remaster came out. So it's pretty wild. Yeah, I mean, this is a great time to be a StarCraft 1 fan. The game is
RTS
ridiculous.
has really never been better, man.
Yeah.
Seriously. So we're going to be going into a best of 5 here today. I think this was the matchup that we knew we could have had, but we weren't really thinking about as much, and we were looking at the way the brackets were getting laid out. Do you think there's a clear favorite here?
I don't feel a clear favorite. I haven't seen as many last TVTs lately. I've seen a lot of Sharp TVTs, and Sharp has done very well in those TVTs. I'll talk more about that in a minute. Let's take a look at this bracket, though. In 2 days, we'll be doing Effort versus Rain, which is just awesome. And then Action versus Shuttle next Sunday, 1 week from tonight. The 2 underdogs of the tournament, I think. And then, of course, next Tuesday, the 16th of October, Flash versus Mini. I think, without a doubt, that is like the winner of that. I think is getting to the finals most likely.
No island maps this time around our toesies. Looks like Mini should be safe. You know, the fact that Action did so well is also very exciting. He really is the underdog. He really is a David in this bracket of Goliaths. Effort, I've been saying for a long time, I think he's one of the best players, especially watching him first person. I've been a huge fan of this guy, one of the scariest Zergs, but he's not really been able to perform, I think, to everybody else's expectations here. So very curious to see that as well. We're going to show you guys a quick video, then we're going to go to our interviews, then we're going to start our match.
압도적으로 많거든요. 네, 자, 택 넘어져야 되는데. 멈추지 않습니다. 계속 이어져요. 앞만 보고 달리는 조기성입니다.
Sharp, Jo Ki-seok.
Till the rivers run dry, I've got to try. I'll keep pushing on.
오늘 커버할 수 없어요. 와, 이게 말이 안 됩니다. 물량 차이가 엄청납니다, 지금.
Last, Kim Sung-hyun.
TV는 역시 넘버원 올레TV와
Okay, we're back with our interview now. Let's see how our 2 players are feeling before we jump into this best of 5. I think it's probably going to be our longest day here today, by the way. I think for round of 8. Would you agree?
It definitely could be.
안녕하세요.
Hello to our 2 Terrans. They say hello back.
선수 정말 오랜만입니다. ASL 8강 진출이
So Sharp, it's been a while to see you. You're here in the quarterfinals now.
일단 오랜만에
You finally made it here after 5 seasons. How have you been?
할수 있다는 게 너무 행복한 것 같고 열심히 준비했기 때문에 오늘
I'm really excited to be going to the best of 5 phase here for the ASL. It's been a very difficult tournament. I'm excited to show some great games.
새 시즌 만에 이렇게 ASL 8강
Over to you,
다전제를
last.
앞두고 계십니다. 감회가 남다르실 것
It took a little while
같은데요.
to get you to the quarterfinals, but you finally made it here. How are you? Yes, it's been a while to have a best of 5 matches in the ASL. I'm very glad I got to this phase of the tournament.
일단은 굉장히 만족스럽고요. 저만
She asks, are you satisfied with the bracket? He says, yes, I'm quite satisfied
이
with it.
8강 진출 이후 저와 인터뷰에서 이영호 선수만 뽑지 말아달라고 이렇게 얘기를 했는데 또 다른 테란 조기석 선수를 만나셨습니다.
When I had a winner's interview in the round of 16, you kept saying, please don't, that you didn't want to draw against Flash. But you are still against another Terran here, Sharp.
저는 원래부터
Are you confident with your TVT?
이제 기석이랑 만났을 때 이제
Honestly, I'm always pretty confident in TVT.
생각하고
When I discovered my opponent was Sharp,
해왔습니다.
I thought, okay, this is pretty doable. And I prepared hard.
조기석 선수도 이 태태전 성적을 보니까 ASL 내에서 2위 굉장히 좋은 성적을 유지하고
But when I looked at Sharp's record in TVT, you've got some impressive results.
이영호 선수만큼이나 좀
Your win rate is
강력하다는
quite
느낌을
high in
받으셨을 것
TVT.
같은데 대진이 결정되고 나서 어떠셨나요?
일단은
After you found out that you were up against Last, what was your take on that?
다른 리그에서도 우승도 했었잖아요. 그래가지고
Obviously, Last has been playing great lately.
예전에 많이 약했었어요. 근데
He also won a championship in KSL.
재밌는 경기 한번 할 것 같아요.
Before I was actually
선수는 지금까지
a little bit worried about
테란전
facing off
5전제
against
세
him.
번을 ASL에서
But I think I've been feeling pretty confident
진
lately.
적이 없습니다.
As of late.
오늘 오늘 그
You had
기록
3
좀
best of
이어갈
5
수
matches
있을까요?
against Terran in the ASL.
이어가야죠, 당연히.
You've never lost. Can you continue the streak of beating other Terran players?
항상 준비해왔기 때문에.
Yeah, I better keep it going.
쉽지 않은 경기가 되겠지만은 정말
I've always prepared
멋진
very hard
게임
for
하고
each
싶어요.
tournament match. It's not going to be an easy series for me, but I think I can take this. I'm going to show some awesome games.
찾아봤습니다. 두 번이었는데요.
Back to you, Last. I checked your record as well,
한
TVT.
번씩 승리를 주고받은 기록이 있더라고요.
You've had 2 best of 5
김성현 선수 오늘 조기석
recently.
선수를 상대로는 또 어떤
But
모습을
they were
좀
against
보여주고 싶으신가요?
Flash. 1 win, 1 loss. What kind of performance do you want to show against Sharp today?
이영호 선수와
I'm ready to break that
만났을
record,
때
that's for sure.
조기석 선수를 만났을 때 그 느낌은 조금 다를 것 같거든요.
일단은
You must have a very different feeling when you face Flash and when you face
가벼운
Sharp.
느낌이요. 일단 이영호의 이름값에 비해서는 가벼운 느낌이지만 그래도 기석이가 요새
I think generally speaking, I feel less pressure
잘 하는 걸로 알고 있어요.
than when I'm facing off against Flash.
이제 되게 열심히 해왔고.
But I can't deny that Sharp is a good player, especially at
이영호
TVT.
선수에 비해서는
And I know he
약간
prepares very
이름의
hard.
무게가 가볍게 느껴진다라고 얘기를 했습니다. 하지만 또 최근에 이영호 선수를 상대로 멋지게 승리를
He just
거두신
mentioned he
적이
feels
있잖아요.
less pressure against you, Sharp.
당연히
How do you respond to that?
때 생각하면은 이제 성현에는 뭐 영호 이름 까배면 절대 안 되죠. 그렇기 때문에 여기서 또 꺾고 또 영호랑 결승전 만나려고요.
Well, Last doesn't have the same name value as Flash either. So for me, I can't take it personally. I don't think it's any diminishing comment towards me.
조기석 선수 같은 경우에는 졌을 때의 아쉬움, 이겼을 때의 기쁨 정말 극적으로 많이 표현을 하시잖아요.
But those two players have been very deep in showing their
근데 또
emotions.
한편으로는 김성현 선수의 좀 이런 마인드
He says,
컨트롤
"Oh, I'm sorry." He says, "Yes, that's why I show emotions because I'm always desperate to win."
성현이가 또 이제 무표정으로 또 기계처럼 엄청 잘하더라고요. 근데
그렇죠.
Are you envious of how Last manages his mindset?
근데
Sure,
승부도 워낙 센
sometimes.
친구거든요.
I feel like he's more machine-like than me.
그래서 오늘 저도
But he's got a very
컨트롤 잘해야 될 것 같습니다.
good focus. He doesn't seem to
김성현
reveal any
선수가
emotions.
워낙 이 포커 페이스를 유지하고 있어서 또
I think he manages
알파고라는
himself very
별명도
well.
걸맞게 생겨난 것 같아요.
네.
근데 또 이런 조기석 선수의 감정 표현이 어쩔 땐 좀
Last, you're more of a
부러운 적도
poker-faced player.
아니면 그걸 좀 미연에
We've also-
방지하고자
the fans
스스로
have nicknamed you
컨트롤을 하시는
AlphaGo.
건가요?
딱히
Do you sometimes envy someone like Sharp who seems so passionate and enthusiastic on stage?
것 같아요.
그럼 이겼을 때도 엄청 기쁘긴 한데 표정이 잘
I think
드러나지
people are
않거든요.
attributing my emotions based off of the way I look on camera.
그런 것 같아요.
So even when you're really, really happy, you don't show your emotions that much?
4강에 갔을 땐 또 어떤
He said,
표정
"Yeah, I think
변화가
so."
있을지 좀 기대해 보도록 하겠습니다.
네.
자, 그럼 오늘 경기를 앞두고 있는 두 선수의 마지막 각오를 들어보겠습니다.
So,
조기석 선수부터
We're curious to see
들어볼까요?
what kind of reaction you're going to have if you do
최근에
defeat Sharp.
다이어트도 열심히
Um,
하고
any
게임도
last
열심히
words,
했는데
Sharp?
모든 일이 또 잘 풀리고 있는 것 같아가지고 너무 기분이 좋은데 더 여기서 이제 2018년 저의
I've been playing hard, I've been dieting hard, working out hard.
목표이기 때문에
I'm feeling good.
정말 멋진 경기력으로 꼭 4강 올라가겠습니다.
This year I'm going to end it with a strong note.
네, 이번에
So
좀
watch my games
또
for
이제
sure.
기회가
Over to you,
왔다고
Last.
생각하고 준비 잘해서 이제 꼭 결승까지
This is another
올라갈
great
수 있도록
opportunity for me.
하겠습니다. 오늘 이기고.
네, 오늘 두 선수
I
인터뷰
do want to make it to
감사드리고요.
another
멋진 경기
finals.
기대하겠습니다.
I want to get to this finals of ASL. That's my
고맙습니다.
goal. That does it for the interview. All right, we made it through that one, Artosis.
네, 오랜만에 ASL
Alright.
8강에 돌아온 두 선수가
How do you-
자신의
what
100%
does that interview
이상을
mean to you,
보여줄 수 있도록
Tasis?
여러분의
Well,
큰 응원
I
부탁드립니다.
guess that you shouldn't
지금까지 이영경이었습니다.
shouldn't read too hard into someone's facial expressions.
Yeah, I guess
Maybe
so.
what's going on inside is a little bit different. Here's our map lineup, though. Autobahn, Neo Transistor, Circuit Breakers, Sylphid, and Autobahn again if we do go to game number 5.
Yeah, it looks like they both did not want to play Neo Transistor twice. That's what their ban is for, is because you always play set 1 and set 5.
That does seem like it'd be a pretty weird map, TBT.
Same. Yes. Oh,
That seems like it
absolutely.
would just
Very hard to play.
Yeah. Seems like it would probably even make for some shorter games, possibly, if you start to get a leg up on 'em.
Very likely.
The
Very
way that
likely.
Natural's position.
Yeah.
I'm no TBT expert, but that's the read I get on that.
It's just, it almost looks like it would turn pretty rock, paper, scissors to me personally, right? You look at that and it's like, well, dropship play would be really strong, but then that means Wraith play would be strong. But Wraith in general is kind of a weak opening against
Yeah,
regular
it
play.
could be very flimsy
Yeah.
under certain circumstances.
So,
Going into the map Autobahn, one-on-one map, there's definitely always some weird strats that can be done in one-on-one maps.
very true about that.
Definitely a lot of locations that you can cut your opponent off. It seems like map control is going to be doubly important in this TVT on Autobahn, just due to the weird bottleneck in the middle of the map, some of these high ground locations, even getting to second base. It seems like there's a lot of ways you could abuse them off their second base
yeah.
alone.
Sure. This is kind of a wild map for TVT, so I'm very excited to see it.
Yeah. I think overall, actually, even though I would personally, I agree with you, I would not want to play on Transistor TVT. I don't mind watching good players play on it.
Oh, no. And anytime a map that is, like, really hard to play in a certain matchup, it's very fun to watch pros play it there. It's a very,
sure.
very common thing. A lot of times maps that pros don't like are the ones that make entertaining games because they get so difficult to play correctly. But yeah, so these two facing off. This is basically the second and third best Terrans in the world. You know, Last has kind of been around that area for a very long time. Sharp, more recently, has been working very, very hard. He's been doing better and better in basically every tournament, in all his online matches as well. And, you know, as they were saying during that interview, his TVT recently has been really strong.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like Last is definitely supposed to win here, but if Sharp does win, I mean, this guy seems to be on a roll in life, you know? Said he's been dieting, he's definitely lost a bunch of weight, he's been doing a ton of yoga. And we do know he trains very hard. He does want to win. So let's see what happens, man. We got yoga guy versus cat guy. Okay?
Okay.
Last does have a very cute cat. We learned that in the KSL finals. I'm personally rooting. I mean, I identify more with Last. He has wrist problems and he's got a cat.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay. Now maybe
I
before my
identify more with Sharp. He works really hard and he's not the best and probably never will be.
Yeah. Maybe 6 months ago I would have identified with yoga guy, but now I'm back to injured wrist cat guy.
Yeah. It's very much you.
Okay. We are going to be going into this game shortly here. We're actually waiting for Last to join the lobby.
Yeah. You know, Sharp is.
Did we do the songs?
Huh.
Oh, we are. Okay.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Original soundtrack.
Digimon versus Simple Plan. Sharp definitely won the intro song battle. So, yeah, anyways, you were talking about TVT and who I would favor here. It's a difficult one. I haven't seen as many Last TVTs lately. A lot of the games that Sharp plays TVT, he gets slightly behind and then fights his way back. And a lot of this has to do with like dropship play and stuff. When and if this comes up in the series, I'll talk about it a little bit more. But he's pretty darn good at things like dropship play in TVT.
Sure.
And I think that's because he is not as mechanical as some of these other Terrans. Even a Terran player like C gives him a lot of trouble in the early mid-game.
Sure.
But then tactically later in the game, that's where Sharp starts to shine. But in the early game, I think that Last will probably outdo Sharp for the most part. Of course, we might see some very sharp build orders hit each other, but in a more regular TVT, I expect Last to take a little lead and then Sharp to battle back.
Now playing on Autobahn.
Okay, so we have Sharp here in the top left. We've got Last in the bottom right.
Very excited to see how these guys want to play. There's a bunch of little tiny metas around opening build orders in TVT, right? Because there is, so for the 3 expansion builds, there's Factory Expand, okay? That's the safest expansion build. There's Gasless Expand with the barracks. That's the second safest. And then there's Command Center First, which is the one that's not safe, right?
Right.
But like, for instance, Command Center First beats those other 2 builds. Generally speaking, it has an edge. It doesn't beat, it has an edge.
There is
Nothing
the
beats
option
anything in
to
TVT.
roll the dice a little bit in TVT, and you can get a little bit of a leg up. ZVZ, similar situation.
Yeah. You know, I would
guess
say
that does exist in PvP, but it's nowhere near as pronounced.
the rock, paper, scissors, or the...
No, I mean just trying to edge out little leads here.
Yeah, totally. But yeah, so there's that little triangle, right? And then there's like 3 different types of forward barracks you can do. You can do like a forward 11 barracks to just pressure someone who is going for a non-factory expansion build, or you can make an 8 barracks out in the middle of the map to put some serious pressure on, or of course double barracks in the middle of the map, a BBS, which would be an all-in build.
Yeah, and that's definitely an option. The funny thing about TVT is, there's nothing's really hard countering anything. I suppose if you went double barracks in the middle of the map, you would kill a guy going CC first.
Yes,
but,
absolutely.
But I mean, that's not really, wow, you got hard countered. It's like, well, you're doing the riskiest thing, the other guy's doing the most aggressive thing. But generally speaking, builds don't straight out beat each other, if that makes sense.
Yes, you get small edges, and then you have things you can work with.
It's like you have a series of different assets and things you need to watch out for. Damn! Hardcore ASL fan. Today is one of our, I'd say, our sleepier days here in the studio.
Still a good amount of people, though.
Yeah.
More than I actually thought were going to be here.
Yeah,
based
no,
on
same,
when we
same
got
here. I actually thought it was going to be probably our lightest day, but a decent number of people showed up. Of course, these guys do have a big fan base, both Last and Sharp.
Yeah. By the way, both of them going for factory openers at least. We'll see if they go for expansions with that. But this is really super common on 2-player maps. It's a more common build because you don't know where the hell they hit a barracks if they hit a barracks. Right? So, whereas, like, if you have a 4-player map like Circuit Breaker, you're much more likely to see a faster expansion because if they proxy, it's got to be in the middle, basically.
Right. Another thing to keep in mind here, all building placement, this is true for StarCraft 2, but I think a lot of times it's overlooked in StarCraft 1, especially if you're a StarCraft 2 person. And we have, by the way, a lot of those people watching this show. I know there's a diehard StarCraft 1 scene, and there always was, but there's a good number of people that actually watch StarCraft 2 and are now also watching StarCraft 1 because they like RTS games. It can be misleading when you see a lot of the way the places these buildings are located. StarCraft 2, you tend to wall yourself in a lot. Let's take Protoss, for instance. They tend to make this kind of wall or maze inside of their base so that a lot of times they can't be harassed as easily. In this case, for instance, we see depots put on the periphery of the base because you need to have vision for drops.
Yes,
you need to know the moment they come in. Yeah, everything has a role. Like, for instance, you don't really wall in at all as Terran in TVT because they're eventually going to have siege tanks. They'll kill your wall in.
Yeah. There's very specific scenarios where you might make a wall, and we'll talk about those if we get to them.
Sure.
Okay, so right now, a proxy starport from Sharp. So he's really come with some interesting preparation here today. He's playing against Last, who went for an add-on before a Vulture, but Sharp is playing defensively with 2 Vultures right now. He will send those out, but the siege tank will be finishing just as they get... Oh, he actually made a Vulture first. Never mind, okay. Well, he's going to be completely fine then against this harassment, but will he make an armory?
Yeah, an armory is a really easy way to shut out any utility with the Wraiths. I mean, Wraiths basically don't beat anything in a straight-up fight except for other Wraiths.
That's right.
But the fact that they can cloak
It's
and
very
they're
true.
flying units, that makes all the difference. It's kind of a funny situation. You would think actually initially, and this was something that also happened with the Vulture when StarCraft first came out. People looked at both the Wraith and the Vulture and thought they were horrible.
Yeah, they're really hard to use.
I'm talking like the first few months here for StarCraft.
Yeah, at lower levels, people thought the Vulture was bad for years.
Yeah, if you were making Vultures, people would say, "What are you doing?
Literally,
it sucks."
I used to stomp pubs sometimes just for fun, and they would literally be like, "Are you making fun of me?" I'm like, "What?"
Yeah.
You're making Vultures. Why would you even make that unit? I'm like, oh my god.
Yeah, I'm like, well, they do kill all bio units really quickly, and they have mines, and they're faster than pretty much anything.
It's
so
a top 3 unit of the game.
Oh, for sure.
Okay, so in comes the Wraith. He's playing against 3 factories, so there is no armory, and there's only 1 Marine. It takes like 3 Marines to kill a Wraith, so that's not going to happen. That is definitely something that is going to hurt last a little bit. You see he's started his armory, but the thing is he's going for so many Vultures, he'll actually do probably more counter damage unless there's a full wall, which right now it looks like Sharp is trying to make, but it's not full yet, so he can actually target down.
And this is, by the way, one of those rare moments where you do want a wall, is to hold off a big throng of Vultures trying to come in there.
Yeah, if you're being greedy in some way, you definitely want to make a wall against Vultures, because if there's no wall there, when Vulture speed is done, you just go in and kill like 10 times the SCVs the race will get.
Yeah. Okay, so the armory's now done, so we can start having Goliaths. Now, these Wraiths are doing damage, but again, they don't deal damage that quickly.
Yeah, it definitely does take a while. It takes 4 volleys for 2 Wraiths to kill an SCV, so he's not killing them at a huge rate, and there's going to be Goliaths out. So this will eventually end. But you know what? This overall, because he got his wall up in time before any Vultures got in, this opener absolutely goes to Sharp.
Yeah, and now Sharp does get out with that 1 Wraith. And this is kind of a very unfortunate direction.
Are
this
you
was
kidding
chased
me?
out. This is so
Did
funny.
you think that they were going to go in a different direction to get out of here? Oh
I'm
my
so
God.
surprised he hit that there.
Yeah.
So there's this whole thing you can do, and there's lots of moments you can do it in a TVT where you'll hide 1 or 2 or even 3 starports depending on where the game is, and you suddenly come out with a bunch of Wraiths.
Yeah.
And blindside them.
So the Wraiths are either like, you open them early and it's kind of like an almost cheesy play, but a great counter to that, because if your opponent did that, they don't have many ground units because Wraiths are so expensive.
Right.
So you just counter them with 2-port, and then suddenly you have more Wraiths, and it's one of those things, just like, you know, in StarCraft 2 we talk about it a lot. It's like, oh, I have like 2 more Wraiths than you. Oh, I wreck you.
I win the game now.
Yeah. Like you have such an advantage.
It's like
at that
Phoenix
point.
versus Phoenix.
Yeah.
Nowhere near as severe as Phoenix versus Phoenix,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
it's still the kind of the same concept. But yeah, the fact that he hit that there.
Yeah, not the best hiding spot, and it's really not going to be all that useful. Sharp has gotten a lot of factories up at this point, and he can just get into his Goliaths now. And he's actually going to be up by 1 factory, I believe, at the moment. So, you know, there's still Last has map control because of all the mines out, but, I mean, that's not going to last forever for sure.
So another scan here. Note how he's staying outside of his entrance. He doesn't want to get walled in. Now, he's going to come in here, and actually, this is a pretty unique moment because he might end up getting the leg up. Depending on how synced up these 2 Wraiths are as they come out, he could win the fight. He's trying to get this other Wraith to be just slightly back. Okay, yeah, I think this was probably a better decision to just try to leave.
Yeah,
It's
you
like,
can't sit there
there's no way
forever.
this is going to last, and I'm going to kill all the Wraiths to come out of here. And nothing happens in the game for a long time.
You're quite right about that. Oh! He gets the mine hit. Oh, man. Last actually gaining a nice advantage with this move. Oh, another mine hit. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, but does Sharp actually just have too much here on the ground? Oh, my God. That mine hit was crazy.
Yeah. You got to be very careful about those mines. And, like, that... Sharp had more units than Last and still lost because he got hit by 3 mines.
Well, you got to be careful moving out. It's funny how mines work at TVT because in some cases, like Goliaths can just shoot them down immediately. Or same with tanks, but other times if there's enough mines that pop up. This is why at TVT you'll see mines laid in huge clusters because sometimes you need a bunch of them to come up at once to hit their designated target.
Yes, very, very true. Otherwise, they will get shot down quite quickly. Now, Last continuing to kind of push over on this side on the high ground. Okay, a nice siege up right there. This Goliaths might be stuck, though.
Now you can see there's sort of the beginning. Oh, I think you're actually right. Those Goliaths probably are stuck. This is the beginning of him trying to set up some kind of a contain. He's making Sharp fight for control outside of his base. And honestly, oh my God, Last is so good. Notice how he's targeting the tank with the wraiths? I don't know how many shots it is. 2 tank shots plus how many wraith shots kill a tank?
2 wraith shots.
2 wraith shots, okay. Beautifully done. Now, even though it seems like Sharp may be able to regain total control here, frankly, he's not trading effectively at all, efficiently at all. Third base coming here for Last. I do feel like Last is getting more momentum here, Artosis.
Yeah, but this is actually to be expected that Last is kind of gaining control in the early game. The way that Sharp plays, he does a little bit more technical stuff, and you know, he definitely got some good harassment done, but then he ran into some mines and things, and Last definitely had some good stuff going on for him. And now, of course, he's getting his third base a lot quicker than Sharp is, but this is still a position that both players can absolutely play from.
Okay, so let's see what Sharp does from here. I mean, Sharp kind of knew there was a possibility of this setup occurring earlier on because he did go for that Wraith play here. We are going to have to see Last really get a third base up pretty quickly here, though. I'm sorry, Sharp. I meant Sharp. Not Last.
Sharp is making his third command center below his natural command.
Okay.
So that's definitely very important. But this map has so many different paths, and the thing I really like about the way that Last is approaching it with those early vultures, he's got so much more map presence, right? He's got a floating building in the center. He's got mines all over the place. He kind of is going to know before Sharp ever moves in on him.
Right. So Sharp's going to come down here now. Yeah, actually, you know, Artosis, the more I'm looking at this map, the more I couldn't agree with you. This map is huge. There's so many different paths here to try to cover. It's actually...
And there's a lot of transitions from high ground to low ground, which makes siege lines super, super powerful.
And wide areas and then really congested areas, too.
And you can cut this map in half on either diagonal.
That's a good point.
This is actually a really cool map. I really like it. I've played just only a few TVTs here, but they are dynamic. You can have battles all over the place as, you know, units flow through areas to find, you know, points of less pressure to take over.
Okay, Sharp is rallying down here now towards the bottom center. Going to try to push up here.
Oh, Last doesn't have that much right there. Only 4 tanks. Okay, sending more units down, so Sharp does pull back. You got to be careful. Vulture tank, well, like if you leave just a few tanks out, it will get busted by Vulture tank instantaneously. So they're starting to group their armies together a little bit more. We're hearing scans here and there, kind of checking out where each other are.
Okay. Time continues to pass here. These guys are both growing to be a pretty big size. This absolutely, by the way, could be a game that goes on for a very long time. TVT, a lot of times, if you develop enough, the map just gets cut in half. This tank needs to die.
And any map that you can perfectly split, and this would be a map that you can absolutely perfectly split.
Sure.
Like the most natural way would be that the 6 o'clock goes to Last and 12 o'clock goes to Sharp, and then basically Last has everything on that we already see him having, and then Sharp will take those other bases.
So nice kills here with these Vultures. Definitely paying off. Getting a lot of good kills on these SCVs.
Yeah, very useful there. Nice little drop going off. So
drop ships a lot of times, if you get enough of them, can be used to try to break certain positions. When the map gets cut in half, you can pick up 3 or 4 drop ships can actually carry quite a bit, and you just drop that wherever the contain is not. It looks like we're beginning in a very organic fashion to have that no man's land created here.
Yeah.
Now Sharp, he can be a pretty aggressive player. He might be looking for another opening over here. Did that actually hit the tank club at the bottom?
I am not 100% sure. It looked to me like 1 mine hit the tank club, but we didn't click on it, so
okay,
I'm not
now
sure.
here's that Vulture tank break. Tanks alone are not going to cut it because the Vultures will soak the initial tank shots, and then the rest of your tanks can actually come in here and do a ton of damage. How do you, I'm asking this because I'm genuinely curious, Artosis, so this isn't even like a gift wrap question where you just get to talk. I really want to know. How do you know when you want to siege up going into their tanks versus when you want to not have them siege? Is there some kind of math problem that can easily explain this? Like if it's 2 tanks, you never do it if you have enough. Like 6, I don't know.
Okay,
I don't know how this works.
Like I actually can't write down for you or say out loud exactly what it is. It's something that you just play a lot of Terran, and then you look at the situation and you know.
It's kind of like with Dragoon Reaver, where you just sort of know in certain situations, like, okay, I need to pick up, or I need to lead.
Well, the thing is, I'm sure that there is a way to describe it. I'm telling you that I can't do it. Like, I don't know how to describe the exact rule set for this.
Or somebody, man. Like, I feel like you'd have a rule.
I don't think that he would have a rule either.
You don't
actually.
think so?
No, no. But yeah, I mean, it's you just kind of look at the situation, and then you do moving shots. Sometimes you're sieging just a group of the tanks, sometimes all of them.
Yeah.
There's a lot to it. So this, right now, Last has a pretty sizable advantage. And I'm not just talking about supply. Where he's sieged is super duper strong.
This is something I wanted to point out. It looks like the map is almost perfectly cut in half, but notice where this siege line, I don't know if we're going to get a shot of it, not that one, but north of that, this one here.
Yeah.
He actually has access, he isn't using it yet, but he has the opportunity to take that center expansion. And that sometimes is how games are decided in TVT.
Absolutely.
You get that one extra base, and there's 2 gases at that base, right?
There are, but those are 2,000 in per geyser.
Okay.
So
okay.
it's not as crazy as it looks. It's still crazy, though.
But you can have a big explosion of gas, which can allow you to win. Let's say you're going for BCs or something.
Absolutely. You have one more base than your opponent in a split map TVT. That's a winning position right there.
Yeah.
You'll almost never lose that. All right, so both of them actually have little groups of dropships, and it looks like Last, rather Sharp, is going to be the one that's pulling off a really strong move right now. This is very common for him to not have map control and then to start to get into some powerful drops.
Right.
Now, Last is trying something similar, but his drop is actually not that strong. It's a lot of vultures and 2 tanks.
Yeah, the more tanks, the more likely it's going to be hard to break that position, especially if you have just a little bit of other units to buffer, like Goliaths or vultures.
Yeah.
Now, he did kill basically every SCV over here, so, I mean, it's not nothing.
Yeah, definitely something. But overall, like, it's kind of interesting because they like 12 is denied by Last and 6 is denied by Sharp, but Sharp is actively using 6 to attack Last.
Right.
So you can see exactly what I was talking about at the beginning, where like Last technically took more of the map and technically has a stronger position.
Yeah.
But tactically, we see Sharp fighting better at this point. Like his drops are a little bit better. He's sieging up, like being a little bit more creative with how he's utilizing the terrain and things like that.
Yeah.
And the thing is, you look at this and you say, well, Last is still winning. He's up 20 supply. Yeah, it's true, but just because you're up and it looks like you're winning doesn't mean you're going to win a TVT.
Supplies in TVT can be very misleading.
They can be.
It's really a lot more about position.
Yes.
Really, you know. It's like who has more mutas in a ZVZ. It's like, well, I mean, we could talk about, you know, the drones or this or that, but a lot of times it's like, oh, this guy has 4 more mutas. Well, that's pretty much all we need to say then, you know. So as this game goes on here, Last is basically, Last not, but he actually is maxed out. We're going to see if Last is going to go for a straight-up push. He's got the combo of a ground army with these dropships, which allows him to pretty easily break into positions. And a very tactical Sharp might just get swamped here.
Yeah, he might. Some great mines right there actually really ruin that drop. So the drop not doing that much, but...
Whoa, this went horribly for Last, actually.
Yeah.
In fact, he lost so much the supplies were even for a second there. It's one of those buggy drops. There's definitely more in here, but they're not quite able to unload.
There's at least one more unit in that dropship.
Sharp is going to go back to this and start cursing when he sees it. The dropships are still stuttering over that.
Well, he's going to end up clearing out this attack, so that's kind of nice. And Last trying to run by with some vultures. Actually, he will get by with a few, but I don't think they'll do too much damage this time.
I feel almost like Last ran his head into a wall here with that attack. This really balances the game out. I'm actually feeling Sharp can definitely do something to make this work. Again, the most critical position here, and that we want to see if Sharp can break, and he's been playing around it rather than trying to attack into it, is this center contained, or this center wall that Last has. That's allowing him to have that center base. I believe he's making a command center in that center base as well, Artosis.
Oh, yeah, you're right about that, actually.
He says, well, I've got it now.
And the
I might as well milk it for what it's got.
Anytime you take a base you're not supposed to have, quote-unquote, in TVT, even mining a little bit from it is super powerful, because a lot of times a TVT can be so cut up that just that little bit of extra, that's like cost efficiency for you.
Yeah, this little sliver of map can pay off big time. Okay, but was this the wrong moment to take it? Because now Sharp is breaking through here. Sharp is going to create his own no man's land down here in the lower center, which actually isolates this command center. You really can't mine from either of the 2 mineral patches here. So now Sharp with a superior position for the first time in this game.
Yeah, this position now for Sharp, I would say, is more powerful than what Last has going on. If he can flank and kill that group of tanks that's just north of where we just saw him push, that becomes a really strong move for him.
But it's funny, the positions are so amorphous on this map. Like, now Last's going to try to come in over here. Are those, I don't know whose mines those are.
Those are,
oh yeah.
well,
no,
it looks like there was one that was Last, but the rest of them, no, I guess some more of them are Last. It's hard to see. There's only a small tint
I wonder
on the
if
side.
that's something they should change, actually. Like a patch for this?
I can see it now. You see that little bit of blue on the edge?
Oh, are the mines actually covered? I've never.
The mines have a little
they're just
tiny.
faintly colored.
Yeah. If they were blue and red, it would be easier to see than teal and blue, probably. But
yeah, I never noticed the mines. I guess they have a slight
green, red, whatever.
Slight highlight.
Yeah, yeah.
Of the team color.
Okay, so Last will finally, or Sharp rather, will finally clear up that group of center tanks. A really important moment, but Last has taken that 12 o'clock expansion, so if he can hold on to that, he's definitely still in the game.
Last is actually getting pushed back pretty hard. Sharp is pushing through pretty effectively, Ortosis.
Yeah.
The bottom of the map is, I don't want to say neglected, there's just nothing really going on down there, but this top expansion, man, I mean, if Sharp can come through here and punt the command center out of this location,
yeah,
beautiful.
Well, yeah, that's like not necessarily game-winning, but it might be game-winning if he can make a move
Well,
that
you're
strong.
getting closer. You're getting in the right direction.
Now, Sharp actually moving around the map a little bit. He's going to ignore 12 for now. I think that's a good call. With the setup that Last has up there, it's going to be unbelievably inefficient to try to break. Instead, he's taking over the center area, just kind of spreading out his tanks a bit. He is trying to take this space, but he has almost no defense there, so that's an area that Last can move into and take over.
Again, these SCVs going to be sent down here to the bottom location. This is basically Sharp space. I don't see Last going to push that anytime soon. Last is trying to play catch-up. A big turning point in this game was when that push came out from Last, and he had the drops. As they were unloading, they were landing on mines, and Sharp so handedly won the fight.
Yeah.
That the flow of the game completely turned. And now you can see Sharp is really, he's getting pretty bullish on the map here. Now we do have this drop to try to break this position. I'm not clear on how much is actually down here right now for Last, or excuse me, for Sharp. I feel like there's actually nothing here.
Yeah.
And I think out of nowhere, suddenly Sharp lost his spot.
Yeah, this is a really important moment for Last. We were talking about that before as well. Like, if Last can take 12 and 6, that's even more powerful than the center.
Sure. Well, it looks like he might be able to drive him back a little bit. His tanks on the ramp are taking some damage. I guess he's going to have to get a few more tanks over here. Sharp, though, his supply has plummeted quite a bit. He needs to basically control this spot.
Yeah, he does.
Or Last suddenly has way too much momentum.
Oh, look at that. Really nice siege tank placement there
I almost
as well.
didn't see those two tanks at the bottom right.
Yeah.
They were covered up by the little graphic, but
this is just becoming so hard for Sharp to hold on to.
Yeah.
And he doesn't have that much to work with. He has a little bit of a bank still.
He might have wanted to lift that CC a little while ago to get some more tanks through.
Oh.
You know,
yeah,
sometimes like buildings can be like a, I don't know, just an obstacle for your whole army.
When you're cleaning tanks in TVT,
yeah,
sometimes you are supposed to lift off all your buildings.
Yeah.
Every now and then there will be a drop and you're like, uh-oh, and you have to lift off all your facts to kill it.
Well, that's the funny thing about StarCraft is moving big armies is actually not easy at all.
Yeah, it's harder than most esports.
Yes. Trying to get a maxed out army, it doesn't matter what your race is, trying to get it to move, constantly changing positions is pretty hard. Okay, now Last is beginning to break through the defenses here in the upper center.
Ooh, clear. That's
like
a very efficient well. I guess he stops it, so that's nice, but
yeah, +2 is the big game changer for TVT.
Yes.
I mean, tanks just two-shot each other.
That's right. In siege mode, they then two-shot. It doesn't even matter. You can have 3 armor. It doesn't make a difference.
My goal is to have the game over before +2 is a back to toes. It's like once +2 is out, I just can't do it. I'm like, I got to go back and play Protoss.
It's funny because the whole game changes. Like around the time you expect +2, you actually just start clicking on your opponent's units to check. Because the moment they have +2, you have to approach everything differently.
Yeah.
The tanks are 50% more effective versus tanks. So it's just like the defender's advantage or the siege advantage becomes almost overwhelming. Okay, so right now, Last still leads with that 12 o'clock position taken, and it doesn't look like a very breakable spot. So I think that basically everything should be focused on 6 for both players right now. Last is not actually taking the center, so to attack in there, I mean, Sharp isn't, so attacking in there doesn't make sense. If Last can clear down at 6, though, that is almost game right there. That's going to be very hard to break, especially at this stage as well. You got to always look at what stage you're at, right? Where it's like when you have this many factories and your macro is flowing this much, if you can like secure a base, suddenly it's so much harder to break than it was earlier in the game. Oh, he does have Goliath range.
Oh man, this is a very awkward spot. Oh, you're right, he does it. This is strange.
Big flank coming in here. He needs to pull his...
Yeah, Last actually just getting dropped over here, right kind of in the middle of his area.
Yeah.
I can't imagine that Sharp is going to hold this for too long, though. But you know, sometimes when you see these drops, it's not about will you hold the spot. It's actually who's going to trade more efficiently.
Yeah, and that's one of the areas that Sharp really excels at. Last is a mechanical player. He's the macro player. He's the one that's going to get more units and control the map a little bit earlier on. But Sharp is a tactical guy. Like, he always gets into these positions where he's behind and he starts mass dropping and moving all over the place and moving into smart areas and defending well.
If I've got a good read on this, I believe that this is exactly what we're going to see coming up here. He's going to keep dropping in all these spots. Once he wins a fight, he's going to pick up and move somewhere else. But this is another huge counter drop here. Dropping the drop, my friend.
Yeah, that's one of the worst unloads I've ever seen. That was a very awkward spot for him to try.
We've had some very awkward unloads here.
Yeah.
You got to get it in a line, hit you, click on the drop ship or whatever you have for unload.
It's important to get all your units out, like, basically at the same time. Otherwise, they just become splattered. Yeah, Last going towards that center location now. A very important location here for Sharp. It's the only thing really keeping his economy on par right now.
Okay, Last continuing to crush through here. Sharp sending some reinforcements to try to hold this off as well.
The SCV's coming out to fight as well, so that's going to be a little bit helpful. They'll be able to help take out some of these tanks. Oh my god, great targeting by Last, though.
Yeah, I mean, this is going to take a while to take these tanks out, and I think this is actually diminishing returns right now for Sharp. It's funny, the game goes so back and forth, but then when you zoom out and get big picture, you can see that seems like Last is eking out a lead. I mean, Sharp seems to be in a moment where he could equalize it, but as time passes, Last, you know, being the better mechanical player, just sort of outgrows Sharp. Well, I do think this game is going to come down to the center base, by the way.
It definitely could. Either 6 will get broken or someone will claim the center.
Right.
Those are really the two areas that are up for a debate right now.
You don't think Last is going to lose a top spot?
No, it's too inefficient to attack there right now. So
he's probably had
I think you just skip it. Exactly. Once they have it for a certain amount of time, you're like never mind.
Yeah. Am I going to get value at actually trying to kill this base off?
Yeah. It looks like Last, though, is really kind of tightening the noose right now.
Yeah, well, he's starting to actually shut Sharp out of being able to circulate on his side of the map. If you can get over just a little bit further, I guess if you can control about where that green tank is for Sharp, that one that was in the center of the screen there a second ago, then it's so much harder to even just move around and cover bases. You're actually completely reliant on drop ships.
Oh man!
And now we see Last is going to lean in over here and start pummeling where the factories are.
Yeah.
And this is where Last has basically gained enough footing that now you see Sharp scrambling to try to just not have to lift his buildings off.
And he might have to lift a few, and that's fine. It's better than running in and losing more units to his push there.
But the thing is also you see anything that pops out of these factories can be shot down.
Yeah. It's a very tough position
I think actually Last is going to try to push the issue here. He's actually going to start pushing into the main, and this is one way to end a TVT. Is you basically, instead of trying to kill all the expansions, you say, where are you going to land your factories now? Buildings do not fly fast in StarCraft 1. No. So if you can get in here and start taking all this out and starting to do a lot of damage, suddenly, even if you have a ton of minerals and gas, you're not making anything. You have to pick up.
Yeah, he's dropping SCVs on that top tank drop now. Now, Sharp has almost nothing left. This is just about game.
GG. Beautifully done.
Yeah, that was a really nice game. And, you know, that's
classic long TVT, almost 30 minutes.
Yeah. It didn't feel like it, I tell you. Felt like about 12 minutes. It was so much fun. But look, it's really cool because these two are a bit of a clash of styles. Tactically, Sharp is so strong, but it gets difficult when your opponent opens the game just better than you and gets in a better position early on. And there's no right or wrong way to play this. It's just two different styles that have different strong points.
Well said, Artosis. It's funny because the matchup, it can be rigid in certain aspects, right? Like you just really can't go bio, right?
Yes,
but,
absolutely not.
But there's so many different ways to approach it and open up and play. And yeah, we saw that total clash of two different styles, and then the fact that ultimately Last was better in the late game TVT, and this is something we were remarking on earlier. If the game goes on for long enough, probably Last wins, right? He's sort of the better overall model of a TVT macro player.
I would put it this way. When Last gets to a certain level of advantage in the early and mid game in TVT, that's where he will take the victory. Whereas if Sharp can stay even, like even if Sharp can stay even by a little bit, right? That doesn't make sense. Even by a little bit. If Sharp can stay even with Last through the early mid game, that's where I think Sharp takes a big advantage, because you can see that, for instance, Last, he's like, oh, I'm ahead. I'm going to go and try to break him. And then Sharp's like, no, you're not. And he takes a terribly inefficient trade. Sharp's right back in it suddenly. Sharp starts doing better drops than Last. They're both doing drops, but all Sharps are more strong.
We're going to go to a quick replay here. What? Okay. Here's our quick replay. I don't know what that graphic was. I'm like, oh my god.
For the TV stuff that Africa's doing.
All right. Anyways, here we see what part of the game is this?
So towards the end.
Oh, this was like that last desperation drop in the very middle, right of where he was, and you can see that Last tried to come over here and reclaim this, and this is where the drop of the drop.
This is the bad drop. Watch these drop ships now.
Yeah.
He's trying to drop in a tiny area and they all stack, and then they don't unload. You need to keep them spread apart as best you can.
He should have basically right-clicked through the tanks and clicked unload on each individual drop ship.
Yes, that would have done much better than what we saw there.
StarCraft, such a mechanically demanding game.
Yeah. He needed to really take this moment. This was the last moment I think that Sharp actually had a supply lead, was the beginning of that drop.
We'll be right back, guys. Stick around.
인터뷰는 나중에요. 지금 너무 바빠요.
비지! 슈퍼 비지!
스케줄이 감당이 안 돼요.
오늘만 몇 판째인지 무슨 일이 난 거죠?
KT와 갤럭시 노트 9이 만났죠.
4대 인기 게임 스페셜템 받고 게임 데이터까지 무료니까. 게임의 즐거움도 갤럭시 노트 9도 역시 KT.
2018년 10월 평화롭던 아프리카 TV에 원인을 알 수 없는 이상 현상이 발생한다. 어느 날부터 감정 조절에 어려움을 겪는 BJ들이 많아지고 예상할 수 없는 이상 증상이 목격되는데, 이런 BJ들의 변화에 시청자들은 혼란스러워하고 있다. 그리하여 아프리카 TV의 비상대책위원회가 조성되고, 그들은 이 현상을 블러드시티2로 명칭한 후 본격적인 대처를 준비한다. 그렇게 결정된 유일한 힘, 10월 11일, 12일 단 이틀간의 기회. 에버랜드 블러드시티에서 최초의 감염자를 찾아 백신을 투여하고 대위기의 아프리카 TV를 구하라. 구원자 대모직. 최초 감염자의 몸에 QR코드를 찍어 백신을 투여하고 이벤트에 참여하라. 구원자들에게는 갤럭시 노트 9과 에버랜드 자유이용권 등 푸짐한 보상이 준비되어 있다. 당신은 감염자인가 구원자인가? 에버랜드 블러드시티가 당신의 선택을 기다린다.
SBS and AfreecaTV presents ASL Season 6.
What's going on? Welcome back to the ASL. We just wrapped up game number 1. It was pretty back and forth, but ultimately Last came out on top.
Yeah, it was a very good game, though. They both kind of showed the way that they generally play the matchup. We'll see how many of the matches follow this type of pattern. The next map, Neo Transistor, doesn't really allow for a game that looks... Well, I mean, you definitely can get into a game that looks like that, but it's hard to navigate the early game of Neo Transistor correctly because there's, you know, the wide open natural and the weird...
I feel like, and I'm definitely no TVT expert on this map, but I feel as though this can make for some kind of crazy short games. There's a lot of opportunity to be rewarded with aggression here. The natural positioning is so weird. I don't really know how the map gets split.
Well, that's the cool thing about
spawns.
3-player maps is that you can never split a 3-player map evenly. 3-player maps actually always force like more aggressive moves and stuff because one of you will have more of the map. So the other one has to attack. And that's really across all the matchups.
That's also why in some of these 4-player maps, you'll see there's this weird expansion in the middle. Like you look at like
you
Fighting
fight over
Spirit.
Exactly.
Like, why is that there? It's like, well, actually, a lot of times the map is split in half, but kind of hard to have that location. Someone eventually has to get a lead and start sucking up those minerals in the middle, and that's how we end up not having draws a lot of times.
Yeah, it makes TVT a lot better at least. Yeah. Like that middle expand and Fighting Spirit.
Because I've had people, when I'm trying to teach them, be like, what about that middle base? Like, when do you take that in PvZ? I'm like, you don't even need to think about that.
Yeah.
If you are ever able to take the middle base, something happened.
You only think about middle base as really late game TVT, in my opinion.
Pretty much.
Yeah. And then they actually become real.
Yeah, and they become a real base.
Someone gets it, and the other one guy has to leave or kill it. Okay, Neo Transistor, it's a wild map. Let's see if anyone gets that middle spawn.
Let's find out. We're now going into game number 2 here. The winner of this series will go on to the Final Four in the last year of the ASL. I'm sorry, the last season of the ASL this year. We're not going away. Everybody calm down. Calm down.
Tasteless spoiled it.
Tasteless said it's going to die.
Now playing on Neo Transistor.
There was a bunch of cheers and at least one feral human screaming in the audience. Okay, so.
He thought there was a PvP today. It was a TVT, though.
Someone told him this is an Age of Empires tournament. He started screaming.
All right.
Actually, I like Age of Empires, too. I like most RTS games. What is the worst RTS game you ever played?
Oh, gosh. It might be Dawn of War 3 or Grey Goo.
Oh, Grey Goo was a tough one.
Worse.
Grey Goo was a tough one because we were all excited. We're like, okay, they're still making RTS.
I get excited every time an RTS comes out.
This is like a really slow version of Command & Conquer.
Yeah, something like that.
It was rough, man. I don't know why they keep making RTSs wrong. They're like, we're going to follow the model that never stuck. I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
What about the one that did stuff? What about this formula? Okay, what about the Blizzard-style RTS games? Why are
only good fresh RTS in a long time?
Everybody's
is Tooth and
cheaply
Tail.
copying MOBAs and battle royales. I'm like, you guys can cheaply copy this and probably do a decent job. You know, just minerals, this form of economics with the minerals and the gas, this kind of unit, this unit amount, this pathing from Bishop.
Yo.
Cheers. I like that we're seeing more non-Koreans come down here. This is cool.
Turns out they like Brood War.
Despite our never-ending battle of people saying, but guys,
non-Koreans don't like Brood War.
People outside Korea don't like Brood War. I'm like, if you give me a microphone in a tournament, I will prove you wrong.
So this is, it looks like Last wants to go Command Center first.
What was
this
the
is a real big scout he's going for.
The initial part where your main is so smaller. What was the name of this map where you had
Neo Forte?
Neo Forte, that ridiculously tiny main where it's just.
Well, you only build like 2 depots up there, and then everything's on the low ground around it.
Protoss is Dragoon rushing so hard. Just keep tearing in there.
Please, tell me about it. All right, so this map, you have these ramps, so like there's no real way to attack your opponent with factory units early on. It just doesn't compute. There's, you know, if you're going to attack your opponent early on, maybe there could be a Marine rush. That's why Last sent the SCB out to scout for a proxy barracks. There was none, so he went Command Center first. And now he's playing Command Center first against Barracks Expand, which Barracks Expand is the most popular for a map like Neo Transistor because it's 100% safe against everything.
In most of the matchups, PvP has a similar thing where you want to get a gateway and then get a Nexus up here.
Yes, that's right. So, slight advantage to last as far as these build orders go.
Yeah, let's see. I guess we're just going to wait and see. I mean, there's not much else to remark on here, guys.
No, it'll take a little bit for this to really come out. Like, obviously, speed vultures are going to be very powerful here. You're going to want to get vultures to control the map and lay mines. Vulture drop can be very powerful. Of course, if you're going dropships and your opponent has wraiths, that's something that hurts very badly. If your opponent is trying to defend against wraiths, but you have vultures around laying mines, you're going to have an advantage there. Yeah, it's just... The map's just kind of a little bit weird.
Just to
TVT.
pick your brain here for a second, Artos, is there like a spawn you don't want on this map? Because, you know, the center, the left spawn, I guess we can call it, like the 9 o'clock position, that doesn't seem like, maybe I'm wrong here, that doesn't seem like any race would want that spot. Am I incorrect?
I feel like that's probably the case. I mean, maybe in a ZVT, if you're doing an aggressive 2-hatch, you might want that, because then you're always going to be close to them.
Yeah.
But I don't know how this works. I can't think of a reason why I would ever want to spawn there instead of one of the sides. The sides you're just going to be able to kind of defend a little bit more against aggression. But I guess if you want to look at the glasses half full, Last has a bunch of bases behind him that are going to be a little bit harder for Sharp to get up to. So there's always that way to look at it.
Okay, double factory coming down now for Sharp. I'm sorry, Last is getting double factory as well, right?
Yeah, they should both be. When you go for these very fast expansions, you start to gain a lot of minerals and gas right away, so you just start adding on the factories quite quickly.
A quick little reminder here, guys, because our schedule's been moving around a little bit. We're going to be back on Tuesday.
That's right.
So ASL is from here on out, minus the finals. I'm not totally sure exactly when that'll be, but or it hasn't been announced yet. But we're going to be here every Sunday and Tuesday. I know we had a bunch of other days where we were squeezing days in. The schedule's been kind of crazy, but if you want to follow this tournament from start to finish, all you got to do is be here with us Sunday and Tuesday, or check the VODs of Sunday and Tuesday's games.
Yes. Okay, so these two can't help but to be themselves, and I just love it, man. It's like Last immediately into 3 factories, so he's going to be going vultures to control, right? And that's kind of the macro player's way to play a TVT. Sharp with a much faster starport. Of course, Last is making a starport as well. The map kind of forces you to do that. You can't have units out in the map that run back to defend. That's not going to work out well. Yeah, I just love this aspect of StarCraft where everyone has such a heavy fingerprint in StarCraft 1.
Oh, for sure.
It definitely exists in StarCraft 2 as well, but like StarCraft 1, you can just kind of watch and be like, okay, this is the way he likes to place his pylons or his depots. Or
everything's done manually.
Yes.
So you start to see these little quirks, like even little subtle things like, does this guy immediately repair some of his buildings?
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about?
That's true. Android comes to mind.
Yeah.
If you damage his 2 hit points off his command center, he'd repair it right then.
One thing I noticed with Nyokin was, I don't know if he does this now, but he would repair buildings even though I'm like, that's going to die, right? Like, it's going to die, but I'm like,
he's going to auto repairs.
Yeah, he'll immediately run over there and repair it. I'm like, like, there'd be like a set of mutas hitting a turret, and he'll have one SC, and he'll just go repair. I'm like, it's going to die, but you're going to spend the minerals to repair it.
Yeah.
And make it last a little bit longer, where another Terran player would have used his APM somewhere else. It's so interesting.
Well, yeah, you have to automate a bunch of things in the game because it's so hard. Yeah, you automate it in your head, and
because the game won't automate it for you.
Yeah, if your hands don't automatically do things, you're going to be behind someone whose hands do automatically do things. Yeah,
that's the funny thing. I mean, it's true in StarCraft 1, but it's even more so, I'd say, in StarCraft. It's true in StarCraft 2, excuse me, but it's even more so true in StarCraft 1. Is sometimes people say, why did you do this? And you'll say, what? And you don't even remember doing it.
Yeah.
It's like you were presented with this problem, you just throw it aside and get back to whatever else it was you were trying to do. What?
He had a depot miss.
He had to murder a Marine. They drew straws. He's like, well, buddy, you're not on a motorcycle, are you? And he's like, oh, no.
So he's going Cloaked Wraith right now. That's going to give him a lot of protection against possible dropship play coming in. And it also is going to force Sharp into getting Goliaths out.
Yep.
like Goliaths can be very strong. You don't want to make them early on that much. They don't have a lot of... The thing is, it's funny. Everything I say has exceptions. It's like, they don't have a lot of power early on. Well, actually, Goliaths can kill everything early on, but only in certain situations. Like a well-played Vulture tank early on destroys a Goliath tank. It's like it builds quicker, you have more mobility, you know, there's a lot to it. Anyways, third base is on the way for Lass.
Lass definitely with the map control.
Yeah. Look at the mines he
I'm
has.
really curious to see what direction Sharp would expand in. Does he expand towards or away? You know?
Like, you mean, does he take 6 or does he take that right-hand base?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good question.
I'm like, I believe you mean 4 o'clock Artosis.
Yeah, I guess that's 3, 4.
You mean
yeah,
4:30?
Yeah.
4:25 over there?
4:25.
Yeah.
a.m.
Nice. You're truly one of the great Artosis.
Yeah, that's me. That's what they call me.
So,
yeah, you can see Lass just having control right now. He kind of knows where everything's at. He's got his Vulture tank. He's playing against this kind of like...
Get back in your base, fancy pants.
Yeah.
I have more stuff. Watch this.
And look,
you
the
gonna
tanks
siege
come
that?
up and add so much damage. Oh, he didn't have siege. Okay, because if he sieges there, he can break
you're right.
it.
Good catch there. I was actually confused. I'm like,
Oh,
what
look.
is he doing?
Both sides have raids.
Uh-oh.
Wow. Well, that's... What an advantage there for Lass to kill those 2 raids. And he's got cloak against no cloak, which is huge.
Wow. It's crazy. And this, again, this goes to show you what can happen if you start to get a Wraith lead. Now, Goliaths are the natural enemy of the Wraith, but of course the Wraith can fly away.
Yeah.
So as long as you're hitting them and they're not getting spotted, it'll chip away at you.
Yeah.
So it's interesting to also note that Lass expanded away, Sharp expanded towards. Again, kind of in the big picture, you can really see the styles of the 2 players here. Sharp is a guy who likes to come out, get in fights early on. Lass kind of wants the game to just last, no pun intended there, and then he just will have more. He's better when he has more stuff.
Yeah, but, you know, as the game, like, if Sharp doesn't get too far behind, that's where some of his tactical moves can come into play, right? Maybe he gets a good drop-off later. You know, sure, he took that base that's behind, Lass did, that's technically harder to attack. But I tell you what, you send 3 Speed Vultures up there and there's no units, you're killing at just about every SCV, and that is about as free as anything gets.
Okay, so we're now in the phase where they're both amassing Wraiths and getting a ground army. This was actually less common back in the day. Kind of getting a lot of Wraiths, and then right after you have a ground army, and without the intention of trying to surprise somebody who's going battle cruisers, you know, or carriers, I guess is another example of that.
Yeah, Wraiths are more of an early game unit. Nowadays, they're not an early game unit.
It's kind of like
might get some as like a sneak play, but yeah, they're like a mid-game unit now.
And this is one of the ways the game has changed over time. Like when we would look at like the Reaver back in the early days of StarCraft 1, it was like this harass unit, you know. But eventually, it's like time to be a big boy and go ahead and make a lot of Dragoons and Zealots. And you can't just rely on Reavers the whole game. Now we're seeing that the Reaver is just this unit that can attack with an army, and versus PvT, especially where we just didn't think of the unit like that before.
Yeah, as people get better, you can kind of figure out all sorts of new ways to do everything about it.
Yeah.
I mean, the beauty of this game cannot be overstated.
And this is kind of the funny thing when you compare StarCraft 1 or even StarCraft 2, because that game's been out for a long time, to all these other games. It's always easy to be really excited about the new game, right?
Yeah.
But when you get something that's this long and this understood and has this much history with all these different players and different styles and different maps and different eras, and we're still unpacking it.
And the things that they're doing to each other get so immensely complex. Like right now, you can see the way that when we started this, right, Last had a bunch of mines near Sharp. And every time Sharp clears some mines, Lass is laying a new minefield. He's basically watching Sharp come forward. He's watching the tide come in, right? But when Sharp gets too far up there, and of course Lass is going to know because he keeps replacing these mines. And see, the Vultures just ran past those mine sources expand. Look at this. Immediately Lass sends it up.
Yeah.
This is the power of having map control with Vultures. You see what your opponent is doing, and you can block them from doing it.
Now, it is going to be an inevitability that there's going to be a fight in this upper right quadrant. I'm not necessarily talking about the one that's happening here in top center, but if the game goes on long enough, it will be a struggle for who can actually control the 2 bases in the third spawn location.
Oh, You attacked the wrong thing. But yeah, look at this. When you get too far out, then suddenly Last can move in and make a big play like this. He gets rid of this relatively small amount of siege tanks, takes over an immensely powerful area. Oh my god, he's going to be able to just kill this base.
Okay, he's coming down now.
Oh man, what a powerful play.
Yeah, this is the funny thing is because Sharp expanded out here, there's like an open wound basically that can be poked into here by Last. I mean, had he expanded to that base that we're talking about, the 425 AM base or whatever you said, it's just it might have been a different story. And now this CC is just going to go down.
Yeah.
In fact, Sharp seems to be so taxed out he didn't even lift it.
Well, this can be part of the problem, right? When you're playing like Sharp is here, he was spread a little bit too thin. And if you are the more macro-centric player and you're doing things like monitoring where their army is, you can suddenly rush into an area that's under-defended and break it, and suddenly a big advantage there. But, I mean, Sharp going to try for some counterplay here, coming up with his group of units. It's not very big, so I can't see it doing too much here.
I've always felt like when I watch a Terran player losing a TVT, it's like watching an empty aluminum can get squished. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like they just see it. Eventually the player just kind of crumples in on himself.
It's a good way to put it.
Sharp is that can right now.
We do call Wraiths tin planes or something too, paper airplanes.
Paper planes. We don't, but I've heard them called that before.
So they say. Yeah, look at this. Just Last continues to rampage around the map. There's not much left for Sharp this game. Definitely looking a lot different from that previous game. He doesn't really have any good counterplay right now, and part of that is because all the early Wraith skirmishes went to Last. And because he has a group of Wraiths, like when you have Wraiths, if your opponent goes dropships, it's so risky. If the Wraiths catch him one time, the game ends.
Yeah, very true.
So, yeah, right now, Sharp is trying to make something happen. And he actually gets the Wraith, so that's kind of nice. Only one Wraith remaining. But truthfully, I would be surprised if Last doesn't just reproduce those Wraiths.
So Last is
now
taking that big step to basically finalize and cement his lead, is he's taking that upper right spawn. Now, I know that Sharp is going around here hitting SCVs and doing this and that, but if Last gets that upper right, Last will have more than half of the map, more than half of the resources.
Oh my god! Oh my god, those tanks are unsieged right now. This could be a huge victory for Sharp if he could kill those.
Oh my god, and a great scan down here to take out these mines.
This is actually a big moment for Sharp. He's retaking a big chunk of the map.
Did Last leave himself too exposed? Is Sharp going to be able to come in here now? It looks like Last can cut him off at the pass here. Again, there's a lot that Last can collapse back on here behind this.
Sharp has 2-1 against 1-0.
Sharp needs to make this work right now, Artosis, because I guarantee you Last is close to finishing up his own +2 attack.
You're definitely right about that.
Again, guys, +2 attack means the tanks in siege mode can two-shot another siege tank.
Yeah, he can hold areas so strongly with that. Last actually left a huge amount of tanks down at the bottom. That's definitely something Sharp needs to clear pretty soon. Okay, he's right now Sharp moving forward, still just +1, so he can maraud all over this. Oh my god, look at this. He's moving up towards that 12 o'clock base now.
Okay, this is actually an odd moment. His army's leaked through here.
Yeah.
Sharp is suddenly over in this spot, but is this drop going to be too much? I am assuming that those are full. Are they not?
Well, I don't know, because he's just sitting there with them. Yeah, yeah, they're empty. Okay.
Okay, he's just like, hey, look at this. I got all these drop ships.
Yep.
I'm going to drop you later on in this game.
Yeah, I just wanted to make sure you knew.
You're confused.
Want to make sure you were aware of that.
Yeah, you know what counters some Goliaths. There you go. Now you're getting the idea. What am I seeing?
Yeah, just some sloppy play coming
really
out of
sloppy by
right
Last. Yeah. It's okay. Other than that, Last is a great player, guys.
Yeah. Well, Last still has so many bases mining. It's ridiculous. You can see the macro just within him. It's crazy how many resources he's actually gathering at the moment compared to Sharp. But Sharp, he's got these upgrades. He's made a lot of strong moves. But like, for instance, that main base that we just saw Last take, if Sharp doesn't kill that like right now, there's no chance. Like, Last is going to stabilize here eventually.
Okay. Sharp is coming out.
still just a huge group of siege tanks doing not too much there. I guess they're guarding an expansion from being taken, but
Sharp comes forward over here. Again, guys, I mean, it's a very straightforward way to lose the game. Is if Last is not denied some key critical expansions, he just is going to have more. And we're already seeing, you know, I guess in a weird way, the aftermath of that happening now. 154 supply to 117. By the way, pretty common in TVT when it gets this late, it's hard to switch from minerals and gas.
it can be a little bit hard to macro for sure, but you can see it's funny, right? Because there's so many moves that Sharp is making, and Last looks sloppy and stuff, but his minerals and gas are actually lower, and he's mining way more, right?
Way more.
So, again, these players cannot help but to be themselves. This just reinforces cases we're all animals.
Yes, that's right. We're all apes. I've thought about that, how actually crazy this world is. We're all actually primates. And these are the pro gamer primates we're watching.
Yeah.
There were the primates that were chosen to talk during the games.
Yeah.
These are the primates in the audience.
And look,
sitting there.
this purple primate likes to make tactical moves with his army and doesn't macro that well. And the white Terran primate,
yes.
Look at him spend his money. It's crazy. He's sloppy, sure, but he just has more.
And if you want to go really crazy, think about this. There's cameraman primates down here. We're all monkeys. We're all just decided to come together. And all these monkeys have internet now, so now we're all connected together.
Yeah.
Enjoying this moment, enjoying this game right here.
It's a
crazy world, man.
It is indeed. Okay, Last finally has 2-1 now.
We're just skin rocks moving through space, man.
Skin rocks. What is that from? I remember that from somewhere.
Can't remember.
Skin rocks. I love it.
Yeah, man.
Okay. Sharp has 4 bases. I think he floated maybe a command center over to the bottom center. If he can retake that, the game can continue, but Last's power is so much stronger than Sharp's right now.
Okay, you can see Sharp is reaching here, but you know, with this high ground position, this is such an important spot. It's so weird to say that the spawn that neither player starts in is actually the most important spot on the map.
Oh, yeah,
TVT, but it truly is.
3-player maps are wild like that. It's just like whoever eventually takes that, if the game doesn't end earlier on, has so many more resources.
Yeah, Sharp needs a miracle at this point in time. He's almost out of oxygen in this game.
He's trying to hold on at the moment, sieging up quite a few tanks. He does have that +2, but Last is in much control right now.
Yeah, I mean, at this point in time, Sharp is basically getting smothered with tanks.
Yeah, he's trying to hit high ground tanks and low ground tanks when everything has +2.
Nothing sadder in the world.
Yeah, I guess he actually breaks that, which is hilarious.
Well, from here, basically Last looks for a exposed part of Sharp's base and starts punching. When Sharp secures that, Last just roams to the next spot.
Yeah.
It looks like the main won't be dropped for a while here. There's a lot of turrets over there.
Yeah, it's 6 bases against 4 right now.
Yeah.
So Last at this point, as long as he doesn't make a boneheaded move, should be able to win. Like, he can literally just siege up and let Sharp try to make something happen. And then when nothing happens, the game is over.
Yeah, I mean, that's it. He concedes. GG. Yeah, I was going to say this might be a loss that takes a while, but I think Sharp looks at this and says, I got to get in the next game.
Yeah.
TVT takes a lot of stamina, especially best of 5s, and he's looking at this and saying, how do I do this right?
Yeah. This is another part that I really, I love about this. These clashes of styles, right? And we keep talking about how Last is taking the map control early on, and then he's macroing really well, and then Sharp has like a window where he needs to get things done.
Yeah.
Man, it's really both games have shown exactly that.
I think Sharp's going to have to do something pretty decisive in Game 3. I don't think he can play a gentleman's game here, Artosis.
The Game 3 is circuit breaker. So having that early game map control, like if you do have the Vulture advantage early on, that is gigantic. There's some really strong siege positions where you can control your opponent.
Yeah.
Where it gets, like if you can hold the bridges and his little high ground early on, and you will if you have early game Vulture control, you'll hold it for at least a little bit, right? You can deny them the third gas for quite some time. And as soon as you do that, it becomes very hard for the defender there to figure out how to win the game at that point.
Well, now what? I mean, The weird thing about TVT is there's not like the, he's gonna 5-pool Artosis. There's not really a move like that. I guess you could make barracks in the, well, I guess you really can on circuit breakers actually.
Yeah, you can make center axes for sure. It's a possibility.
Guys, we're gonna go to a break. When we come back, game number 3, Sharp versus Last.
게임 캐릭터들의 독한 하루.
인터뷰는 나중에요. 지금 너무 바빠요.
비지! 슈퍼 비지!
스케줄이 감당이 안 돼요.
오늘만 몇 판째인지 무슨 일이 난 거죠?
KT와 갤럭시 노트9이 만났죠.
4대 인기 게임 스페셜템 받고 게임 데이터까지 무료니까. 게임의 즐거움도 갤럭시 노트9도 역시 KT.
2018년 10월 평화롭던 아프리카 TV에 원인을 알 수 없는 이상 현상이 발생한다. 어느 날부터 감정 조절에 어려움을 겪는 BJ들이 많아지고 예상할 수 없는 이상 증상이 목격되는데, 이런 BJ들의 변화에 시청자들은 혼란스러워하고 있다. 그리하여 아프리카 TV의 비상대책위원회가 조성되고 그들은 이 현상을 블러드시티2로 명칭한 후 본격적인 대처를 준비한다. 그렇게 결정된 유일한 힘, 10월 11일, 12일 단 이틀간의 기회. 에버랜드 블러드시티에서 최초의 감염자를 찾아 백신을 투여하고 대위기의 아프리카 TV를 구하라. 구원자 대모직. 최초 감염자의 몸에 QR코드를 찍어 백신을 투여하고 이벤트에 참여하라. 구원자들에게는 갤럭시 노트9과 에버랜드 자유이용권 등 푸짐한 보상이 준비된다. 당신은 감염자인가 구원자인가? 에버랜드 블러드시티가 당신의 선택을 기다린다.
What's up, everybody? We're back, and hopefully this is not a 3-0. What time is it, actually? Oh, actually, we've been on for a little bit. We've been on for about an hour, 20 minutes. Time flies in TVT.
Yeah. I think
I feel like I'm just warmed up, though, you know?
This map, though, out of every map in this pool, most favors last, I would say.
Yeah, this is a very straightforward macro map. Lots of expansions, lots of open terrain in the middle of the map.
If Sharp gets contained on 2 bases, that is just... Thing is, as soon as you contain the bridges, the third gas that you might be able to take is so easy to attack that it's very easy to close out a game on Circuit Breaker. I guess that's what I was looking for, right?
Sure.
It's easy to close out a game on Circuit Breakers in TVT. If you have that advantage, you can kind of suffocate them very quickly. They get a tiny window where they can try to break out either with like a mass vulture play or a dropship play, something like that. And then suddenly you have like 4 bases against 2 gases.
Yeah. I like the song Artosis. Karen. This is a song that plays when lots of vultures and tanks are crashing into each other, sieging up.
Yeah.
We got such great music here at Africa TV. We are truly, truly fortunate. Guys, right now Sharp needs to do the impossible. I mean, he's going up against Last, the KSL champion. He has to beat the KSL champion who 4-0'd Jaedong.
Yeah.
Last has to 3-0. I'm sorry, Sharp has to 3-0 Last.
It's a difficult
Try
one.
to wrap your head around that.
Yeah.
It's like easier to imagine and understand that the universe has been around forever. And we just will never figure it out. We'll never get the answer to it.
Well, that isn't
That's
actually
easier
forever.
to actually
just billions
grasp.
of years.
Billions and billions of years. We don't know what was before that. We have no idea. We're never getting to
There's
the bottom
nothing
of it.
before that, Tasteless.
Oh yeah, you know you got the answers to everything, Artosis.
Look, I'm just telling you what the science says, Tasteless.
We don't know. I can't imagine Sharp coming back either. I mean, I want him to. I want to cast 5 games here. But right now, Last seems to be bigger, faster, stronger, better at dodgeball. He's got nicer shoes on. He's taller.
Well,
He's got it all.
I hope that's not the case in this game, because if we do have a quick 3-0, I'm going to be very heartbroken.
Well, we're still waiting.
By the way, the winner here gets a seed into next season's round of 16.
Very important.
That is actually the real thing that everyone covets. It's like, yeah, you might be the champion, but once you get that seed in the round of 16, you are already really deep in. You don't have to do the qualifiers or anything.
Way less stress than having to go through that forest of players to try to come out on top, where there's so much that can go wrong.
Indeed.
Yeah, you're right. You're totally right, Artosis. Getting that top 4, you want that. You need that.
All right, can Last continue this march of destruction against Sharp? You know, the fact that he won KSL, what if he wins ASL this time? How crazy would that be? It's not out of the question. He's a strong player.
He really is.
If someone eliminates Flash for him, he could win this tournament.
Well, the thing with Last is he's looking even better than he did in KSL. KSL, it's like he came out on top in every series, but he was losing games where it's like, okay, this guy's really good. He can win best of 5s.
That's true.
But he wasn't macheting his way through players like some of these other guys where it's like 2-0, 2-0, 3-0, you know.
Yeah.
Anyways,
well said.
Guys, our game's ready. Let's do this. Game 3, Sharp versus Last.
Now playing on Circuit Breakers.
Wow, we get some hardcore fans down there.
We only got 1 cheer. What happened to their side? Guys,
They're only
that was a cheer
cheering
for Sharp.
Even Last fans don't want this to be a 3-0.
Yeah, Last fans are robots.
Well, hell, if he loses, you get to see at least a 4th game from him tonight, right?
Yeah.
No one came here for a 3-0. None of these series are supposed to be 3-0 in the round of 8.
I'm glad we don't do best of 7s for this phase of the tournament.
Oh, God, no.
Can you imagine that? I'm like,
oh, man.
No, we get it. Listen, he's dead, okay? It's a 3-0. Can we just wrap this up? You're really going to make him play again because we're not sure?
Yeah.
In StarCraft, you're not
In
sure.
StarCraft 1, you're pretty sure after 3-0 who's better.
There's just... I think we can let this guy advance in the bracket.
Yeah.
Let's take a cow bear. Sharp support.
I don't know about that one.
Sharp support. So they're in cross spots here, Artie. McTosels.
What am I... Wow, that was... It's like his depot was late. He pulled the SCV too early. I think that Sharp is actually maybe nervous right now. That did not look right to me. We only got it on camera for a moment, but his SCV was sitting there at 96 minerals and then, like, I don't know.
No, he made a mistake for sure.
Yeah.
The SCV is going to come out. He's going to be hiccuped as far as streamlining his SCVs coming out.
If he didn't have 100 and the SCV already traveled up there, then probably cloned poorly or something. Anyways,
he done goofed Artosis.
Wow, this is a percentage play.
Okay.
This is
He's
actually
doing
fantastic.
the smuffed coin flip.
Kind of. Now, it's a barracks on 11 still, so what this does is not only does it float really quickly to either of those bases, but if you go for a gaseous expand at either of those bases, Last is going to put on heavy pressure and be ahead, like, no matter what.
Now, yeah, you know TVT so well. I'm so glad you're here, Tosis. TVT is the mysterious matchup for me.
For most people, I think.
So, guys,
based on the Terrans I play on the ladder, for most people,
So, guys, I want to explain something here, because you might be looking at this and be genuinely confused, and for good reason, because you're saying, well, what if the Terran is in the upper right? Isn't this the worst thing ever? You're right. But there's a 2 out of 3 chance that they're going to be on the left side of the map.
Yeah.
Based off the spawn.
And if they're top right, you're not dead because of this, you know? It's like you just send your Marine home, and you float the barracks over there, and it takes a while, and you're like, I tried, whatever.
It's not even really a gamble. Not even a gamble.
Oh, Sharp is actually going to scout this now.
Wow, I'm actually pretty impressed.
Yeah, I think it's because he saw the SCV coming down right there, and he's like, that wasn't in my base, which means there has to be something in here. Now, this is rough, because as Sharp now, you have to build more Marines, or you have to get a bunker up right away, or you have to pull SCVs. You have to do one of these things. Now, the build order when you go gaseous expand is incredibly tight. If you make more than 2 Marines, you're very unhappy.
By the way, these guys are doing polar opposite builds here.
Oh, Last looking so good.
Oh, he's so good.
Yeah, and there's another Marine on the way, so there should be a 3rd Marine coming out for Sharp.
That initial fight ended like a Quentin Tarantino film. And now it's going to be more pressure here from Last. He's
so far
ahead.
I
want to point out, I don't know how close that CC is to finishing, but if he can ever get close enough to the SCV to start to hit that one that's making the CC.
Generally, you won't cancel the CC with this, but like
it gets done.
Just the fact that this is now, what, 4 or 5 Marines have been made. He's got SCVs down here. He's losing SCVs. I mean, look at this. Look at the 128 gas, 180 minerals. He can't start his factory. Like, the forward 11 barracks has just become kind of a counter because everyone's...
Oh, no.
That's cute.
Oh, no. Okay, he finally gets it.
Yeah. So, Sharp stabilizes, but the thing I was talking about before where factory expand is slightly behind against an expand like this, like a gaseous expand, that's now gone. Oh, that was really bad micro right there from Last. But anyways, basically it just comes down to, can they get their build off without a hitch? And he absolutely did not. And not just did he not get off without a hitch, he's behind at this point. His factory is going to be late. Where's his 2nd factory? I don't see it. It's because it's not being made. So that's not any good, is it?
Damn, you're so profound, man. You are deep.
Look at that. That's a really late 2nd factory for this. Oh, man. He lands, so you can't even make an add-on.
Yep. Now he has to pick up.
Oh, jeez. Float it over there for decades to try to make an add-on.
Yeah. It's funny the little things you can do to be abusive with a floating building.
Yep. Sharp is...
He still has not landed that factory. Oh, okay.
Sharp is up a creek without a paddle right now, as we say, Tasteless.
As they say. As we say.
As we say.
As you and I have said
are always
so many casts. I mean, they're going to put that on our tombstone.
Yeah.
In case you guys are confused, yes, they're going to bury us together when we die.
We have a mausoleum.
Yeah. You'll probably live to be a little bit longer than I will, Artosis, but you'll be ready. They'll throw you right on top of my rotten Tales from the Crypt corpse.
Yeah.
No, but
it's already what you look like without a shirt on. Yeah, so at this point, he's going to pressure with the tank. He knows how late that add-on is. Just the fact that he has a tank up here will probably force siege mode out of Sharp. He might not, just because he's behind. So he's like, well, I gotta maybe take a risk or something.
This situation here is kind of funny. It's similar to the PVT where you have to get something to repair that bunker. Because a tank, in fact, does outrange a bunker, even when it's not in siege mode.
Oh, he's going to try to block that.
Uh-oh. I don't like this for Sharp 1-bit Artosis.
No, he's trying though, Tasteless.
As you can see, you can actually kite Marines.
Oh, there you go, flank and tank.
Flank and tank.
Oh, you actually, okay, yeah, that makes sense how he microed that. Whoa,
okay,
all right.
That's all you got to do.
Yeah, Sharp out microing Last a little bit there. Definitely worth the Marines to get a tank. Those Marines are really not very useful anymore, but now siege mode is done. So this is not like the standard way that you'll normally see a map like this open up. But
so he might start leapfrogging here. Go ahead, Artosis.
Yeah, it's just, this is super tough. Sharp is getting probably speed right now, but tanks are already sieging up on top of him. Look at what this is so tough. I cannot even explain. How do you deal with this as Sharp? Yeah, it looks like he's going to switch into siege tanks from here so that he does not simply die. But he might try to run some vultures around, kill SCVs, something like that. Maybe he'll try to just do a flank onto those tanks on the bridge and kill them off. This is more of a forward position than you will normally see a Terran attempt, because tanks in these low numbers, like, you can even pull SCVs and kill stuff like this.
Oh my god.
Ooh!
Barely
nice.
Unknown to him, dodged a bullet there. Okay, now he's going to see these tanks hitting him here.
This is really well played right now. It doesn't look like it's going to work.
He needs to get that last takedown there. Oh, man. Okay, so last gets away. Every tank's so precious in a TVT.
Yeah. And the fact that he got siege there when he had, like, one add-on, I mean, it worked out for him. That was good. It saved his life for now. It just... Okay. So the siege line is getting set up. These bridges are not going to be breakable for Sharp, but you can hold the bridges very easily as well. So if he can fan out a little bit and start moving through the right-hand side of the map, through the top, like through 12 o'clock,
yeah,
that's a way that maybe he can eventually get a second gas up. He can't right now, but maybe in the future.
You mean a third gas?
Oh, yeah, third gas, sorry.
Yeah, Sharp does have this little avenue, like you were saying at the top here, we can try to kind of move out. Gas, way more of an important resource than minerals.
Yes.
In some cases, minerals are actually, like, a Zerg player in a ZVP is fine having mineral bases.
Yes.
They can make that work, whereas a Protoss player actually needs to have a gas base.
Yeah. TVT is very much like this. Like, vultures are useful, and you can hit some interesting macro pushes on open maps with mass mineral type builds, but
yeah.
Like, it's really about the gases. If you don't have 3 gases and your opponent does, that's where you see the switch into mass wraiths. And then the mass wraiths stop anything that your opponent can really do, because you can't afford Goliaths and tanks at that point.
There's no way to have a balanced army at that point in time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, what other matchups is there that gas is super important in? I guess PvT, it's sort of like, well, you'll take it if you can, but vultures and zealots and dragoons, I mean, they're
I don't
mostly
think
mineral.
From either side, it's not as important in PvT.
TVZ,
it's
probably more important.
Third gas
is yeah.
You'll
take a mineral base if you have to after that. But
Zerg, it's for Zerg. It's important.
Yeah.
So.
And then I guess in PvP, ZVZ. Well, ZVZ has different parameters it's operating on because you just have so little.
Yeah.
It's like, how many of each thing do you have? Okay, so the fact that Lass is actually going to bully Sharp off this part of the map is a bad sign for the future, guys.
Yeah, and any game in which you're trying to take that as your third gas, you're already a little bit behind it. That's like your last ditch effort because there's so much high ground around it. And you can see that Lass has just taken utter control here, and see those 2 ports? It's fun. Because he's taking his third gas right now. So he's sitting here, he's like, okay, as long as I make siege tanks, I'm good to go. Oh my god, well, Sharp's got to try something, right?
This is really rough, though, because you guys, Sharp, he had such a strong showing here in ASL. It was super exciting to see him play, and he's talking about how he's been losing all this weight, and he's doing yoga. And then you look at Lass. Lass just stares Sharp in the face and goes, I can't even touch my toes.
Yeah.
And starts running over him.
He's like, yoga, huh? Well, why don't you...
He's like, I had Krispy Kreme before I came in here.
Hey, Sharp, namaste in your base.
You're so good. No, I mean, seriously. This is just brutal. I mean, it's like we have 2 bodybuilders and one can just lift way more. Well, those are the rules. I guess this guy won.
The thing is, he took the early advantage, and in circuit breakers is just so important because it's just like we were talking about, right? You hold the bridges, and then they can't get a third gas, and you do get a third gas, and then you go mass wraith. And then they're like, well, I can't make siege tanks and Goliaths.
And you can even see that Sharp is almost conceding to the bad position here. He's just going to take the mineral base anyways.
Yeah.
Well, if I got enough vultures, I'll run out here. By the way, I think hidden bases actually in TVT are sometimes some of the best things to have.
Absolutely.
TVT hidden bases, and correct me if I'm wrong, because again, you're the TVT guy, but I really do feel like out of all the matchups, what are you going to benefit more from than in hidden base than anything else, right?
It can be a heart-sinking moment when you scout a base that has full SCV saturation with the gas taken.
Yeah,
Like, uh-oh.
Because it's kind of weird. It's weird how other matchups work, right? Because PVZ, you could, in theory, hide a base, but the moment it's spotted, the number of workers you're going to lose on either side there, it kind of negates it. Where in TVT, there's so much focus on trying to control the center, it's easy to miss a hidden base. ZVT, I guess the Zerg is always just trying to take a base somewhere that's far away, so you're kind of just looking for bases constantly as a Terran anyways.
Yeah.
PDT, I guess, yeah, why not?
Thing is, you've got to assume that Protoss has all the bases after a certain moment in the game.
Yeah, exactly. So you could try to take something way early on, but it's like, well, they're going to look for that eventually. The map, that's one of those matchups where the map does get engulfed entirely.
This Sharp having a hard time holding on. He's down over 50 supply right now. This is a rough one, Tasteless.
Yep.
Last just wrecked him early on with that proxy racks.
GG, we got a 3-0.
Yeah, it doesn't even have to show the race.
Yep. And last with no reaction.
Well, that was it was pretty cut and dry. And again, that was the best map for last stylistically against Sharp. So not surprised that that one went one-sided.
Poor Sharp.
Yeah, Sharp is actually a very good TVT player. Theoretically, the way that last plays gives you the advantage every time, but
Sharp's going to be back.
Yeah.
Don't give up on Sharp. He's going to go sit and stand in he's going to stay in downward dog for a little bit. Think about what he messed up, what he's got to work on, how he can come back for the next season of ASL. But last, also known as AlphaGo, already won KSL. Is he going to win the ASL?
It's a real possibility. He's going to play the winner of Rain and Effort, neither of which are unbeatable.
How many insert letter SL tournaments can he win, Artosis?
Well, I think for last, the biggest thing for him going forward will be if Flash gets to the finals, because I know he looked really good there, but I promise you that Flash's TVT takes all the good things of last and all the good things of Sharp and then other good things neither of them do and puts it all together. Yeah. His TV
and the acting ability of Daniel Day-Lewis.
Yeah,
it puts it all together.
And the good looks of Brad Pitt.
Yes.
And I know that these guys have taken TVT games off to Flash, but it will not look like this series if Flash plays one of them. So
I don't think so.
That might be the big obstacle for last, getting 2 big championships back to back.
Okay, we're still waiting for last. Oh, he didn't know he was supposed to go to the interview section. So we're just going to keep these shots running until he gets over there.
Well, this has been a pretty fun day. I'm sad it was a 3-0. I was really hoping we'd get to go to 4 or 5 games.
I actually didn't think it would be a 3-0, but then after game 3, I realized that I did not fully understand how good last was at TVT. I thought this was going to go to game 4, game 5 for sure.
ASL 시즌 6의
anyways, interview time.
진출자가 탄생했습니다. 조기석 선수를 상대로 3대0.
So we just discovered who is going to move on to the semifinals. It's last. Congratulations. Thank you.
무려 5시즌 만에 4강 진출입니다. 소감이 남다르실 것 같은데요, 일단.
After season 5, you're here in the semifinals. How do you feel?
그 ASL에서 4강에 온 것 같은데 되게 좋네요.
Yes, it's been a long time to make it to the semifinals in the ASL. I'm very happy to be here.
예상을 하셨나요?
Did you expect to go 3-0?
내주지 않는다는 각오로 왔고 이게 또 막상 이렇게
I had the
준비를 되게
coming into this. I did not expect to lose any games. That was my mindset.
컨디션도 좀 안 좋아
It wasn't easy, but I did.
그래서 좀 첫 번째 세트 반드시 좀 이겨야겠다는 생각을 더 강하게 하셨을 것 같아요.
You were also mentioning you've been having problems with your wrist.
사실 정말 역전에 역전이 계속
But from what I understand, that's been motivating you even more to win.
제가 유리한데 자꾸 뭔가 계속 낚아 먹히더라고요. 그래가지고 좀 이게 집중력이 좀 흐려질 수도 있었는데 그래도 마지막까지
I had a feeling there was a lot of moments that I was ahead of him. I believe they're referencing game 1. The game went longer than I expected, and I had to eventually pull back.
그리고 세 번째 세트는 너무 좀 수월하게 풀어나갔거든요. 갑자기 득도하셨습니까?
So game 2 and game 3, all of a sudden, it became much easier than game 1. Can you tell us about that? Well, I think in game 1 I made a lot of mistakes back there. I tried to play more cautiously in game 2 and 3. And I just was more focused in game 2 and 3.
이루어진다는 것이 쉽지만은 않은데 그만큼 또 많은 또 노력을 하셨나 봅니다.
Yes, a lot of people will say that, but it's hard to execute. How did you manage to pull that off? Well, my preparation period was
잘
I wouldn't say it was
됐던 것
long enough to be ideal,
같아요. 이 정도
but I believe more in my
컨디션이라면,
basic skill set.
손목은 일단 뭐 아프다고는 하지만 당장의 그 결승까지 그
So you've been
일정에
having some problems with your wrist. You were mentioning that earlier.
그래도 요새 좀 손목이 괜찮아지고
Do you think you're okay to continue to compete? And can you still get to the finals even with these wrist problems?
제가 대기실에서 경기가
Recently, my wrist has gotten better.
나눠 봤을 때는
So my games have been
저한테
playing
대진을 너무 잘
more cleanly.
뽑아주셨다. 그
So
이유
I'm
중에
still able to prepare.
하나가 이영호 선수를 결승에서 만날 수
In the waiting room, you
있는
also mentioned that-
대진이다라고 얘기를 하셨어요.
네.
이미 좀 그렇게 큰 그림을 그리셨나요?
Oh, you thanked me because I drew Sharp because you're glad you're not going to have to face off against Flash. Yeah, I was really hoping that I could avoid Flash at least until the
하지만
finals.
4강에서 일단
Since the
좀
bracket
큰 산을 넘으셔야 합니다.
is set up this way, I think I can make it all the way there.
선수의 기다림이 있어요. 이 두 경기에서 승자가 김성현 선수하고
In
4강
the
경기를 하게 될 텐데요.
semifinals, you're going up against the winner of Effort versus Rain.
Do
Do you have any preference on who you'd like to face?
아무래도 뭐
Excuse me, she said as a Terran, you must be hoping for a Zerg.
하지만 그래도 좀 정우 형도 이제 쉽지 않은 상대거든요.
Personally, I prefer to face off against Zerg. But Effort and Rain are both very good players, and I'd say they're on equal skill levels. But since I made it to the semifinals earlier than them, I have some more time to prepare, which I'm glad for. So I think if I prep hard, I'll be fine. Any words to your fans?
잘하는 모습 보여드리고 있는데 앞으로도 또 계속 잘하고 있는 모습, 잘하는 모습 보여드리고
Recently, I showed some pretty good performance. I'm very happy with it, and I really hope I can continue to show great performance throughout this ASL. I hope you guys keep supporting me. I also want to thank Mine for helping me out in my games. So thank you to Mine too. All right, that does it for the interview.
진출자 김성현 선수와 함께했습니다.
Oh, Tosis. Hopefully we don't have any more 3-0s.
Yeah, I hope not.
Look at that last. Is like game 1, dead. Game 2, dead. He's like, get out of here. And game 3, thumbs down.
Indeed. Well,
so much for Sylphid.
Maybe this is a new era that we're living in, one where Lass is going to win all the tournaments instead of Flash.
I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
I would like for someone to take Flash off of his throne.
Well, his throne is actually a forever throne. I don't know if you've ever heard
Well,
of these. When you're the greatest of all time, you're always on a throne.
Yeah, well, but if you're not the greatest of all time because someone else is the greatest there.
Well, you can be the greatest within a moment in all time.
But if
right?
Lass keeps winning everything for all time, then does Flash get to have the throne?
Yes, no, Flash will always have
Check.
it.
And say it with me. Mate, I'm sorry, Tasteless. I owe you an apology,
Mate, I'm sorry, Tasteless. I owe you an apology, Tasteless.
Yeah, you knew it. You knew it was coming. Who knows, man? Last might be able to keep the ball rolling. I don't think he's as good as Flash yet, but he's already won KSL.
Yeah.
You know, he's a crafty player. You can see this guy does put the hours in. He's very thoughtful. And coming up next is a matchup I'm very excited for. This is going to be on Tuesday. Effort versus Rain.
That's going to be great.
I don't know who wins that.
Rain's PVZ, I love it.
Oh, his PVZ really inspires me. I mean,
Yeah.
that's such a tricky matchup, but he really seems to know how to navigate that, especially the early game. Very, very well.
Effort has looked fantastic lately. I know we went through this weird dry period where he wasn't doing well in tournaments, but he is looking really strong.
He doesn't seem to have the ability to play best of 5s or best of 3s the same way he used to, but we'll see if he does it this time around. He's a very good player. I think he's got a very good shot. And you really don't want to underestimate Effort. I mean, this guy is... I think a lot of these players, they get, except for Protoss, we just have a bunch of good Protosses right now, but the Zergs tend to get overshadowed by Jaedong. The Terrans are certainly overshadowed by Flash, but Effort is right up there, all-time greats.
Absolutely, absolutely. And really, when you look at this bracket, how it's shaping up right now, the finals will have either Last, Effort, or Rain. That's amazing. Those are three of the absolute best.
Yeah. You watch, Action's going to win the whole thing, Artosis.
Well, that would be the craziest story.
We're going to
of all.
walk out of that finals, look at each other like, that was weird.
Yeah, like what?
Yeah. Did that really happen? Are we part of a simulation?
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
That would be, I mean, long time coming for that kid. But
no kidding, man.
We shall see. So he will play 1 week from today against Shuttle. And I think that'll be a good match, too. Shuttle's really good PvZ sometimes. Every now and then he just falls over, but sometimes he shows really great PvZ.
Yeah. No, he's got a very good understanding, and he's also, we've seen him even win behind in a PvZ, which is pretty damn hard to do.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's still anybody's finals. I think we're all expecting Flash to get to the finals, but look, I think he's got a very tough match against Mini as well.
Yeah.
I mean, I think Mini actually can beat Flash.
Yeah, he can. He absolutely, like...
Especially this new era of PvT that Snow is ushering in. I mean, you know all the Protoss players are just looking at that and picking through the different aspects of that to try to, you know, have something to stop Flash.
I mean, half the time when you see Flash losing to a Protoss, man, if there's 3 shuttles dropping stuff on his tanks, that's Mini.
Yeah.
All right? Just to let you guys know if you watch a lot of Flash stream. So that's a great match. That's the best match in this round for me. I was actually thinking this match would be really good, but actually the first 2 games were good. That third game, though, was...
My little pocket thing's not all out of the way. No, I messed it up. I put it out too much.
Oh, man. It was actually perfect before.
No, it was down. It was down like this.
Yeah. It was
you know
just
what?
barely tucking
I don't
its
like
head
it
out.
today. It's going away.
Getting rid of it all the way.
They can't stop me. You know what?
Don't you touch it!
Don't
you touch it!
This is what power looks like, Artosis.
Oh my God! You leave that alone.
I like just take it out and throw it over there.
Oh no.
Guys, this has been a great day. I'm sorry it was a 3-0 though. I wish it wasn't. This was, how long is this whole broadcast? About 1 hour and 45 minutes. If you're in the studio, hang on to your tickets. We have a giveaway. I guess right when the Korean casters close it out, we're giving away mouse pads and plushies and cool stuff. You don't want to miss out. Especially on a day like today, not a ton of people in the studio. You could win.
Absolutely.
And if you're not here in the studio, you're always welcome to come down. Yeah.
Okay.
That's a good note to leave it on.
Yeah, I think we're good. Good
That's
to go.
all the time we have,
Tune
guys.
in 2 days.
Yes, we'll be back on Tuesday, same time, same place here at the ASL. Bye-bye.